Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another episode of the Now Review. And for today's instalment we're going to be looking at the most latest Now spin-off, which is this strange anomaly, and it is Now 100 Hits 80s. Now of course, for fans of this show and just fans of Now, you'll know this isn't the first 80s album that Now has ever done. They've released several 80s compilations. There's 80s Dance, there's 80s Party, all those sorts of videos you can check out on the channel. But this is the first time they've released an album where it's 100 hits, and it's 5 CDs as you can see. Let's have a look at this cover. So lots of lovely like neon-esque lights, very 80s of course, lots of blues and pinks and greens. I actually quite like the cover. I thought I wouldn't at first, but actually it's grown on me the more I look at it. Just before we get into like the actual album, they have released Now That's What I Call Now last November, which of course was one track from every Now from 1 to 100, sort of, you know, the 100 hits package. So maybe that did well that they want to try a similar thing with other genres. Having 100 hits on one album is quite the catch really, so talk more about that in a bit. There is your spine, just nice and central. Now 100 hits 80s. No, that's what I call music. I find that interesting, just Now 100 hits 80s. And here is your track list. So it's in this sort of paragraph format, so apologies if you won't see everything. But right from the get-go, you've got some great tracks here straight away. A lot of 80s tracks. You know, Ride on Time is one of my favourite songs ever. Just for a fun fact. There, Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper is also incredible. There's only one or two I'm not overly familiar with here, such as Martha and the Muffins with Echo Beach. Don't really know that one. CD2, you got like Fleetwood Mac, The Police, Africa, again one of the best songs of all time. So really, you are getting a wide mix. You're not just getting like the mainstream pop stuff in a way. You're getting sort of more rock elements as well, and like funk and all this. CD3, you got Lionel Richie, Luther Vandross, Kenny Loggins, Jermaine Stewart. So yeah, you're really getting, I mean, yes, it is mainly pop of course, but you are really getting the mix here. So Rhythm Is Gonna Get You is a good one as well. CD4, Tears for Fears, Aha, Katrina and the Waves. Obviously a few one-hit wonders in here, as there were so many in the 1980s from what I understand. Rock Me Amadeus being one by Falco, Axel F. Great little tune there. Small Town Boy by Bronski Pete is great. CD5, got The Jam, Billy Joel, Dolly Parton, Paul Simon, Whitney Houston, or How Will I Know, great selection there. Yeah, Super Trooper. I'm glad some ABBA is on here. I know they sort of faded out by 82, but it is just nice to see some ABBA is included. Moonlight Shadow as well. And Islands in the Stream by Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers to finish. So yeah, 100 hits. You could argue not every major 80s hit is here. I didn't really clock it the first time, but is there any Bonnie Tyler on here? You know, like any Total Eclipse of the Heart, Holding Out for a Hero. That would have been cool, but I don't, unless I've missed it. There might be some on here, I don't know. Also, Phil Collins. Where's Phil Collins at on this album? He had a lot of 80s hits too. Lack of Michael Jackson, obviously. And of course, you can say, well, you know, these rights change around every now and then. Although, it is technically Sony Music, so why there's no Michael Jackson on here is, well, it's anyone's guess, really. You think out of all the artists, you pick one of the best thing of the 80s. No real Madonna, anything like that. But anyway, more about the track list later. So the inside, of course, you have to have the advert for the Now app. I really like this sort of nice, simple, slanted format for all the tracks here. This would have been a much better way to show the tracks, I should have realised that. Here's another look at the tracks, just because it'll be a more, well, just an easier way to look at them really, isn't it? Great songs on here. Tell It To My Heart, Taylor Dayne, very underrated song. Glad it's on the first disc as well. CD2's track list for you. There you go, Africa. Cutting Cruise, one hit wonder, of course, well, to me they're a one hit wonder. Toy Soldiers is grand. And then you move on to CD3. Yeah, there really isn't any Bonnie Tyler or Michael Jackson or Madonna on here. So, I mean, yes, you've got a lot of the big hitters of the 80s on here, but to not have those, I mean, it kind of feels a bit disappointing, really. And CD5, I'm running out of arm space here, believe me. Now, the CDs, I'm not going to get them all out. I love this artwork, by the way, because they're in this, because it's like this, they're in this really awkward, you know, that sort of sleeve style. All it is it's the colour of this, so this is like light blue, and that's what the disc is, nothing majorly special. So sorry I'm not going to show you that there, but they're a pain to get out. And if you're that desperate to have a look at the discs, you should probably pick this album up for yourself. So what more can we say about this? Well, as I've just said, the major disappointments I find with this tracklist are the lack of some of the biggest hitters of the decade. No Michael Jackson, no Madonna. Bonnie Tyler may not be the biggest hitter, but she had some great hits. You do have some great songs that you think they might have ignored, like towards the start of the decade, like Let's Groove by Earth, Wind & Fire. That's an incredible song. Moonlight Shadow, I know it was on the very first now, but you think it's one they wouldn't include all the time. Tears for Fears get 2 mentions here. They get Everybody Wants to Rule the World and Mad World, which I know is their original, but I think I'd rather trade out Mad World for, say, a Madonna or an MJ or something. There is some interesting selections on here, like the Rolling Stones, Start Me Up, and Fleetwood Mac with Everywhere. They're just strange to me, probably not to some others, but yeah, overall a very eclectic mix of tracks, shall we say. But where can you get this album to start with? Well, I picked this up from HMV on launch, of course, and it's $11.99, so despite being 5 discs, because I think now that's what I call now was a little bit more expensive, but this one is actually the same price as a regular spin-off now that's just been released, so I think that on its own is really good value for money. Now, should you get this album? Well, I mean, if you're like me, if you're a massive fan of 1980s music, particularly pop music, then this is a must-own album. You get such a wide range of songs, and 100 songs to boot, not just 50 or 60, so it's even better there. Is it the best 80s compilation album that's ever been released? I would have liked to have said yes, but unfortunately, I don't think it is. I think if you're a Now fan like me and an 80s fan, you should own this, but also make sure you pick up the last 80s album they did, an 80s Dance as well, obviously more of the dance songs. I know they're just doing this in a way because it makes more money, because a lot of people are saying, why release another 80s album? Like, what's the point? But to be honest, if they put tracks on that they haven't before, if they make it wide enough, it's going to sell to some audience, isn't it? So yeah, if you're a fan like me, if you're a collector, you're going to pick it up. If you're just starting on Now, then yeah, definitely start with this. If you want the most songs straight away and like the widest range, then definitely start with this album. The others are fine, but I think this is going to be more of your value for money. So overall, yes, it's a very tightly packaged album. It has its flaws, but overall, if this is the trend now is going to go down with their spin-offs, I'm not too bothered by that. I mean, a lot of people have said this is it, this is the beginning of the end of the traditional 3-disc spin-off, you know, it's all going to be 100 hits, and it's going to be like 70s, 60s, all the decades they've done before, and I think this is done well, so yeah, if that's the way we're going, so be it. So that's all for this installment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment below, share the video around, subscribe. So until the next one, I will see you guys next time.
Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Brittany Fan 1999, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, and Francine Salazar, our AMTV staff members.